In the last section, we had a very long discussion about clustering, and I think you now have a better idea of where we start to run into some diminishing returns as we increase the number of children inside of our cluster. Now, at present, our clustering setup inside of our index.js file is really straightforward and very simplistic. I definitely could show you how to build out a more fully featured clustering solution where our master tries to monitor the health of every child and maybe restart them if they ever crash or anything like that. But I'll be honest with you, that would be a little bit disingenuous on my part for one very good reason. There is already an open source project in the Node community for the best darn cluster management software that has ever been written. And in good faith, I really cannot tell you to try to write your own cluster management stuff for any reason beyond educational. So if you ever want to use cluster management in a production application, there's really one place you should turn, and that is to the PM2 CLI. So let's take a look at the documentation in this section. We're then going to install this CLI onto our local machines and then play around with it a little bit in the next video just to get a better idea of how it actually works. Okay, so I'm at the GitHub page for PM2. I'm going to paste the link here nice and large so you can very easily see it on the screen. There we go. So github.com/unitech/PM2. The GitHub page has some limited documentation for this module. If you go to pm2.io, which is the homepage, they've also got a huge collection of guides here as well on how to set this thing up for all different types, like really all different types of usages on this documentation page. So we're going to install this and just try it out very quickly on our personal project here. But I would really encourage you to take a look at some of the documentation here, because just about any question you probably have, they already have some documentation around it. Honestly, like I said, I could show you how to do some of this stuff yourself, but it's probably, honestly, I hate saying this, to be honest, it's probably just not the best use of time to try to rebuild the wheel from scratch here, because this really is a very solid piece of software. Okay, so let's install this very quickly, and then we will use it very briefly in the next section. So back at my terminal, I'm going to install PM2 by running npm install -g PM2, and that's going to install it as a global module. Now, when you run this command, if you get something complaining about permissions on your machine and you're running on Linux or OS X, you can try prepending this command with sudo, unless you don't feel like doing that, at which point I kind of leave it up to you to get this thing installed. A lot of people don't like it using sudo on any command whatsoever, so I kind of leave it up to you if you don't want to do that. Anyways, I'm going to let this install, and we'll come back in the next video and play around with it a little bit.